Okay. Okay. First, let me introduce myself to the participants. That I'm Abhinandan Sarkar from Kolkata. So currently, I'm in a position at assistant professor in Sri Ramakrishna Institute, and for the last 11 years, I have been working in the academics. So through my journey, what I have found out that there is a huge gap between the syllabus what we go through for our students and the industry what they are preferring and what they are asking from the students as their knowledge or as their experience. So though internships and many things have been introduced by AICT and other governing bodies, but still too I think the students have not this is in my opinion or what I am facing every day, that students are not becoming at par with the industry mindset. Or for that, Shreyan is with me. Mainly, he is the speaker, and I will be only asking him few questions so that he can share it with us. And as he is an expertise in ML and AI, so let me get to the formal introduction of him. So he is a machine learning engineer. He has done his M.Tech from Vellore Institute of Technology, and he has been working as a, software engineer at Dell Technologies, and has served the founding AI engineer at Acos MD India. So he has worked in multiple startups for the AI foundation and architecture. So right now he is working as a learning engineer at fintech startup Mindstone, and he has delivered multiple projects on machine learning and generative AI as his in his professional career. So he has been dedicatedly working also on the same mission as I thought to progress some part, that making AI accessible and technology for the all the students and bringing up the innovative mindset and uh, among the students, so that the gap there should that can be minimized. And he has done multiple seminars, workshops, events on developing this mindset, what to know about the students, how can they get better in their journey or after their engineering courses, what they should need to learn, what they need to do, and everything. So he's dedicatedly doing. Okay, Sriyan, I've received a message. What happened again? The mic is off. Okay, okay, okay. Don't know why. Is it okay now? Okay.
Perfect.
So, okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So, he has done multiple seminars and workshops. Today, he will be encouraging us and giving enlightenment on his journey and what the students need to do. Though there are multiple professors over here, respected professors are there, but uh, they can forward this message to the students of their own trade and everything. So, let us start with the session.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning,
Yeah.
Abhinandan sir.
Uh, Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Shreyan, first thing,
Yeah.
please encourage us with your journey, how you have started with your
Oh,
engineering and where you have reached till now. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, as you like mentioned, all my journey already, right? The M.Tech, got into Dell. But the most part, the interesting part of starting of my journey was, I did my M.Tech in communication engineering. Okay, it
Okay.
was not into AIML at all because I think AI was not even a coined term, like a formally coined term in India in that sense, like
Yeah.
like a mass sense, if I say in that manner, right? Because we all worked on neural networks, like deep neural networks and other models, and that was there for a long time, and we were already integrating and working on projects, maybe from I did projects on my fourth year BTech and in my M.Tech also, right? And for some reason, like I already always had the passion for that. And so like when I got into Dell as a software engineer, this is amazing. The company is amazing, the industry is amazing. I got the outlooks and all. But after working there for some time, I realized that hey, it's quite true. The environment's great, everything's great, but something I was missing, right? So, I ramped up my skills and everything a little bit because and that time I guess I think ChatGPT came in around 2022 December, right? It was released as a public, and people got to know that. And so just prior to that, I started doing all these things, and I thought that hey, I need to transition my career into this domain because that's the most exciting field that I've been feeling that is the next. So yeah, I transitioned. You know, I had a good track record in Dell. I got as a you know I got picked up as a founding engineer in one of the startups. So it was into health tech, like Acoustic MD India that we were talking about. It was into health tech. Okay, and just like if you know about Medibuddy, uh, like Amaran sir, have you heard about Medibuddy?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah,
Medibuddy, right? Yeah.
Medibuddy.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a B2B platform, right? They work on B2B
Mhm.
from companies to companies and all, providing health services and all. So we were, doing a spin-off of that with some advanced tech stuff. And so what was happening is that so I was working as a founding engineer there, and they had absolutely no architect. And the most interesting part about working in health tech is you absolutely do not get any kind of support. Why? I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because it's not. I'm not talking from the company's perspective that hey, I'm not getting support from the company. No, no, it's absolutely not that. It's about the data situation in India of health tech.
Mhm.
Because normally what happens is that because we also have a US wing for our the startup, we also had this, and so normally what happens is that people follow a EHR, like an electronic health record, right? Uh, where everything is organized, all the patient data structures, everything is arranged, and you can connect it through multiple, like through some FHIR standards and everything, fine, right? But here, every hospital is not even a sector. Every hospital maintains their own kind of EHR. So although there is a standardization, written standardization in India, but there is no applied standardization in
Mhm.
India, right? So say Apollo group of hospitals are maintaining their own kind of EHR. Okay, so Max group of hospitals are maintaining their own kind of EHR, right? And it becomes so unstructured. So when we are looking into like standardize all the kind of EHR, so we can take vast amount of data into our processing and all, it becomes really difficult, right? So anyway, just moving on, we can go into that later. Um, Now, after some time, I shifted this into a fintech startup. Okay, and it was quite large already, and they had some work going on, but they wanted to lead a project specifically. Needed me to lead a project specifically on that. So now I'm working on that. So yeah, it's a very interesting journey if you talk about like I think that actually enables me to answer your questions that you might be having, because
Yeah, sure.
mm, that's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So my first question would be
Right.
that we as you have already said that you have studied your M.Tech in communication.
Yes.
So what were the skill set that were primarily required or for a fresher that he wants to get to a AI/ML industry or
Yes.
in those kind of mainly the tech part. So
Hmm.
how he can easily grasp that position and what skill set he needs to know.
Right. See, um, I'll focus on two things. Okay. Now, if anyone wants, especially I'm not talking about the like the core uh, non-IT subjects, because see, if you are starting in ECE, you you already know programming up to a certain extent because you're taught programming in your maybe your first years like yeah have to learn C, DSS and all. Second year you might also be having, I think, or third year, some people also have DS as a subject in many universities, right? For EC electronics, definitely CS and CSE and IT are already there. What I suggest is whatever you do, wherever you like, whatever career you're choosing, make sure that you know the basics of programming very well. That's the first thing. Okay. What happens is that this DSA, the data structure and algorithms that I'm talking about, is at any length. Okay, I'm not asking you to go into the depths of the trees of the about the grass and the time complexities and everything. I'm not asking you to go, but at least from the top, the basic algorithms, if you're aware, that should suffice for you. Because this is in general. I'm not talking about AIML specifically. This is in general when you are, going into a software or an IT industry who specializes in any format, right? So what happens is that once you get the hang of this, right, you can easily enter. Okay, because the interviewers are not expecting the BTech students to know all the industry standards and all the depths, right? Because they know what they're coming for. They know that they are students. They are just BTech students or M.Tech students who does not have any industry exposure. So the answers of the questions are like that, right? So what they will be asking is they will definitely ask you the basic stuff, asking the question the students the basic stuff that hey, do you know the simple thing. I think uh, since all the professors is here, the researchers are there, I think it's a very normal
Yeah.
thing, like when we are doing a viva with the students, right? We do not ask them most professors do not ask them the trickiest and the hardest question straight away. They just come down to the basic and the simple one. Hey, do you know this thing? And the student has prepared all the important stuff, all the larger stuff, and they miss out on the ground stuff, like totally, right? And they lose, like they cannot answer and they lose. So it's the same thing with the industry also when they're applying for the interviews. And they have to know the things, the basic things that are required from them, right? And one more thing that they require is they should know how to communicate with the interviewer as well,
Yeah, that's the correct point
right?
you've mentioned. Yeah. Yeah.
Communicate, I'm not saying that you speak to them in like you have to know full English or you have to know full Malayalam or you have to know full Kannada or anything, right? What I'm asking you is that the interviewer is going through thousands of students, right? The
Yeah.
interview is going through thousands of students. They can tap into the student's mind or the whoever is coming for the interviewee's mind in maybe 2 to 3 seconds. What they actually look for you is honest communication. Honest communication in the sense that what students go for are revised answers. you know like they search on LinkedIn, they search on Google or somewhere, and they say that hey, or maybe on Reddit, right? They search that these are the questions that are normally asked by the interview. This is how I should answer, and they totally learn it up, memorize it up, and this is how I should say. Like not a penny more, not a penny less, right? Just say whatever you want to say. The interviewer understands you. That's the first thing. Okay. I've also taken multiple interviews. What happens is that the interviewer looks for, like, if I use a Gen Z term, it's called vibe, right?
Okay.
They look for the vibe match. So if the person is honest and everything,
Yeah.
you know, it's not an issue at all. Because I've seen many interviews where of my friends and of my many juniors. What happens is that they're excellent in the technical communication, technical abilities, excellent. But after some time, when they reach the managerial round or the cultural fit round, there is this cultural fit round. There they lose, right? They cannot communicate well. They are not honest with their answers, right? They are they are so they have memorized it so much that the interviewer feels that hey, like I'm talking to a robot, right? I'm
Yeah.
not able to understand this person as an entity. So all these things, right? So I'll say DSA, as we mentioned, right? So for career transition into any software industry, DSA is the main thing. If you're going
Okay.
into core software engineering, it's more of a DSA. If you're going into AI/ML
Mhm.
engineering, it's a less part of the DSA. Honest communication with the interviewers and all, and be calm. That's the whole thing. That's the whole point, right? So if I just point it out, right? Um, I've heard reviews from multiple juniors of mine when I go to these meetups and all that. Hey, AI or ML engineer roles are not coming into the industry at all, into our universities at all, right? Only software developers, back end, front end, maybe some core software development. Only these are coming. So what do you do, right? To answer basically the second part of your question, um, if you can't do anything, what's not there in your hand, so what you can do is you go there, make sure that you know your foundations well, right? That's the first thing that you have to be confident about. You go to the other websites, that there are multiple startups right now, like you can get a well found, which was previously called Angel List, right? I
Angel
there's
list, yeah.
yeah, there's Y Combinator as well. So it's not only for the companies to go for looking for VC fundings and all. People can actually go there and apply for the jobs, and they are very high paying jobs, and you can get it on as a remote basis also, right? So it's all
Okay.
dollars you're earning in industry, like sitting at home in India, right? So it's an amazing thing. And and since those are startups, right, they are looking for the newer techs. Okay, a company like TCS, Infosys, and all, they already have the entire thing filled up. They're not looking for, so the higher positions of these kind of companies, like I mentioned, like TCS, Infosys, or any kind of service-based companies, are the problem is that they already have the structure. They only have some limited abilities. Okay, if you
Mhm.
and it's a rat race to enter that, right? Why go into a rat race when your same skill sets are giving you more dividend when you're applying to a different company, a different startup? And I'll say that for any kind of early researcher or early professional, nothing is based as getting like entering into a startup. The 20s is the time that you take risk. After that time, like, hey, you get married, you get your family, you settle down, and you can't take risk anymore, right? Your family will eat your head, like if you're taking a risk, like you're not on a stable career. So that is why I
Sure.
suggest people that get into a startup. It's all the same. Infosys is laying thousands of employees in a short day notice. A startup can dissolve anytime. So it's all the same. It's all the same there. So that's what. So try going for applying somewhere else where you're not, if you're
Hmm.
not able to find this kind of AIML companies. That's what I'll say.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's get to the next question. That
Yeah. Sure.
yeah, though you have already said about what to do, and
Right.
what I think that in my opinion, that there is ChatGPT, there is Gemini, many other
Absolutely.
AI, generative AI
True.
platforms are
True.
there. True. So they are doing the programs, their thinking skills, or the
Mm.
types of codes they are writing. Uh, are those things taking up some of the job spaces for the newcomers?
I'll give you an example. Abhinandan sir.
Yeah.
We had some like we had a system of telephone switches. I don't know exactly the term. Maybe like it's almost uh the time, maybe prior to my birth also. I'm not sure. Maybe you'll be aware. Like the telephone switches, the people who used to work on those switchboards, connect from
Yeah.
one line to the other. You just call them up, right? When wireless communication came, what happened to them? Did they lose their jobs? No, right? So they got upgraded. They upgraded themselves to fit the latest scenario, right? I'll go back much more earlier. When you're talking about like the invention of calculator, right? Electronic calculator, or maybe abacus. Did they lose their jobs on that? Like, hey, our calculator will be doing the everything. So when computer also came, that was an advanced form of a calculator. So did they replace anyone? No, right? So same thing, right? Technologies will come and go. Everything will be evolving. That doesn't mean that will be like left out. Whatever is happening now, I think I understood, the fear where this question rises in anybody's mind. Like, will I be like getting replaced? Right?
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely not that. It might be a business. Okay, what is happening in the head of the some of the businesses are that we are not recurring you, right? But if you prove yourself that, hey, I am upgrading myself, that someone is upgrading, themselves to that point that they do not have to look back, okay, and they are irreplaceable. There's no purpose of someone kicking you out, right? In terms of, but sometimes what happens is that the companies get full of themselves. AI is doing everything, AI is everything, but those are actually a business, a bubble that happens. After some time, they again start recruitment. That, hey, it's not functioning as we expected. It's not working out. Okay, we need developers. But we need AI ML developers now. People call them some in the industry. People call them prompt engineers. Now they are termed as context engineers, right? Prompt
Okay.
engineers are not. Yeah, prompt engineers are nothing. Is it basically the same task that you do? It's a very simple task, right? So that is what the job titles are getting upgraded. So if you're fitting the job title, if you have the relevant experience, you do not have need to worry. Okay, so that's why I always suggest that do not get very comfortable with a position if you're not the owner of your business, right? Only that time, like, people cannot kick you out.
Yeah.
If you're working under someone, make sure that you upgrade yourself every day. Until and unless maybe you're a pension government employee, or someone having a termed position in a company or in anywhere, right? Do not get comfortable. So, so if
Sure.
you're progressing on that, I think it will be fine.
In your job area, so what's a typical day if a freshers ask you, sir, that how the days are spent in your role, and what are the pressures you need to take, or what are the things you need to do in each and every day? So how you are going to give them a short brief on that, that this is the thing that I need to do every day in my job role.
First thing you have to do is check your mails.
Okay.
Check your mails, and if you're working, if you're a programmer, you have to do a git pull. That's the first thing to understand. What other teams have made, and if they have made any changes or something, and based on that, how like what you need to work on. Okay, so if there are some escalations, right, you have to address these escalations. You have to so many of these companies have stand-ups. So what happens with stand-up is that it's a certain time designated, at a time of some time of the day, where all the people come up and they discuss whatever has been done yesterday. Okay, and what are the things that we have now, like what are the action items and what we'll be doing on the next day, or maybe today, right, on the same day. After that, the tasks are allotted and everything is made. So people start working on that. If there are some escalations, they solve those escalations. So suppose, sometimes I have to work with the CI/CD team as well, like the DevOps team. Okay, for integration, if you're suppose we have got our ML model ready and everything, and we need it for like deployment in the cloud, right? So we deploy it, right? And so it's basically cross team conversation that we need to do is documentations, right? We need to work on every aspect of the documentation that we need to work on. We need to brainstorm. So since it was a startup also, I'm talking about startup phase. We have to brainstorm with the decision makers, right? What we'll be doing, you know what are the things that what the vision is, and are we going as per the vision, right? When I'm
Okay.
talking about the Dell, which is a
Mm.
very larger organization, the vision is already set from the higher officials, right? You do not have to worry about that.
Okay.
So Yeah, you just need to make sure that you do your work, like whatever tasks are assigned, you do the work diligently, right? So I think this is pretty much normal across all the industries. So I think it will answer your questions for almost all
Okay,
the
now
sectors.
I have. Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
now I have two questions that are from two perspective. One is that of the internship, and while going for some interviews, the candidates have faced that whether you have done some courses from some that type of
Okay.
platforms like edX or Coursera, why you have not done those things, why, and what are the importance of going through an internship in your engineering phase?
Okay. So there are two parts to your question. One is the
Yeah,
internship part, one is the certification part, right?
yeah.
I'll answer the certification part first. Okay. I'll I'll be very much honest, and I'll be putting this answer, structuring this answer in how I have interacted with the juniors, and I've also done that. Our like my friends have also done that, and still people are doing in all in all the academic institutions. I think we have got something called credits, right? Every university has credits, and there's some maybe called some extracurricular credits or something like that. That when you are doing some course from Coursera or something, you get some points as well added to your record, right? Into a
No,
semester or something.
my question was that whether these certifications are important for getting a
Yes,
job in the
absolutely.
industry, yeah,
Okay.
whether
Yes.
that is valid things or not.
Yes, I'll answer that. That is
Mhm.
what I'm
Yeah,
answering. Is that so? What happens is that for getting these points, people do not actually, they just play the Coursera videos. All the answers are available on the internet. They copy paste that and they get the certificate. They do not learn anything. So what happens is
yeah,
that previously, from at some point of time, this Coursera's and all certificates used to be very quite valuable. They used to teach the students properly, right? But now what is happening is that by time, the interviewers are saying that they have done a Coursera certificate, right? A Coursera
yeah.
certification, but they're not being able to answer anything. So that means that the certification is not amounting to anything. That's the inference that people take out, right? So what is happening is that now for many of these companies, they just look at it, okay, this guy has done Coursera certification, that's fine, but it doesn't answer my questions. He's not able to answer anything, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So these values, I feel that it's only good for the resumes as of now, honestly. But if you're not picking up anything, the student is not picking up anything from these courses, it doesn't make any sense. Whereas to answer now your first part of the question, for the internship, right?
Yeah.
Internship is the only thing that might be valuable for a resume, right? Because you're actually going into some professional workspace, you are learning from there. That's the whole point. So I always suggest that if you're in a third year or fourth year, you go and grab an internship. If you're not looking
Sure.
for higher PhD positions or something, so for that reason, like internship doesn't make any sense, right? You work on a thesis, that's better. You work on papers with your professors, that's better, right? So it depends, but certifications as of now, it doesn't make any sense. But Google certificates, right? Google certificates, AWS certificates, Microsoft certificates, right?
Mhm.
They are very important. Like they give you credentials because their system of scoring is much better than what Coursera does, right? They have the sanity of their like the keep the purity of the answers within themselves. They do not leak their answers anywhere, and the testing system is quite difficult also. It's quite well made, so that improves. That is why Google certificates, AWS or Microsoft certificates makes more sense than normal, like maybe Udemy or Coursera certificates.
Sure. So, okay, let me go through the some of the questions from the participants' end that they have
Sure,
already
absolutely.
given during the registration. So, one
Absolutely.
question that strike me right now, that how can we enhance soft skill and the personality and the mindset so that being a third year or a fourth year engineering graduate student, So
Right.
what are the things I should look upon in the my next 6 months or 1 year, so that in my first crack or uh, that kind of mindset, how I can develop that.
What many universities lack, is that they are not able to provide the students with the right environment. Right environment means students need to relate that if this is the thing that I'm writing, see, they are doing some matrix calculations, right? Some linear algebra. They need to relate that where I need to put it in the industry. Okay, the relatability is the main thing. So what happens is that if the industry, if the the academic industry of the the university or the college helps students in connecting these things, right? Connecting with the real time scenarios. That's the first thing that we all lacked. Everyone lacked as students. We only get clarity once we reach a higher state, or we move higher up the hierarchy, and then we realize, oh, this is used for this is used for this. We didn't know, like when we were studying, right? I believe that's happened with every one of us, right? This revelation that happens. So the first point is real time. Some relatability has to be there, so people, the students can think, understand, because the student people, the human brain is always thinking, right? But if it's not guided where to think, how to think, it will not make any sense.
Yeah.
If the relatability is a
Mhm.
big factor, right? That will encourage that, okay, so this is how I can put this here. So if I think more about this, the student will come up with much more ideas. you know they might have a breakthrough idea as well, right? So then when you have your entrepreneurship cells, like e-cells, universities, or something like you have your tech clubs. So in the you are all your students are going into hackathons in some place, maybe some IIT hackathons that are happening, or NIT hackathons that are happening. They can
Mhm.
actually express themselves, they can think according to that, right? And I think that this kind of extracurricular things are what that makes a student much more higher up, much more enabled. So if the university nurtures all this kind of things, and helps the student to have a more real time application based study, or some collaboration with some industries, right? I think that will actually help them much.
So industry collaborations are needed, right? Yeah,
Yes,
I do
absolutely.
think so. Being a academician, so I
Yes,
see those gaps are there, that proper understanding and those internship are really required for the students.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
another questions I have come across, that being from an IT field, whether I am from the computer science background or being a graduate from a normal or an engineer from other streams,
Hmm.
what are the different work areas that can be explored in the near future in the IT companies only? So suppose I'm giving you an example that I'm from a metallurgical engineering department, but
Right.
I have been hired in some large MNC of tech. So, is there any chances that I have been doing other stuffs, or my growth is limited to certain level, and graduate from a computer science or electronics, those who are going through a programming background for the last 2 3 years, they will be getting a much higher scope in their journey for the career.
Okay. Degrees do not matter after a certain point of time. And maybe I'm the living example of that, because I come from a non-CS background. Like, although I'll not term EC as a absolutely a non-CS background, but still, it's a not purely like a CSE background, right?
Yeah.
I have got multiple friends who have studied mechanical engineering, who have studied civil engineering, and now working in one of the, at a very good position in one of the top companies in India, right? So you need to make sure, maybe the initial, like when you are applying on campus, These degrees, the streams that you are coming from makes a little bit of a hurdle to process. But suppose you get into some industry, right? You start away with that. You have good projects. See, you're coming from a, as you mentioned, you're coming from a metallurgical background, right? And suppose if you want to shift to the CS field, okay, you just need to work on the transition during that time. You need to have projects. You need to have something that proves your ability that you can do during maybe if you're applying off campus. But once you get into the system, now no one even cares. No one cares like what you're getting, like where you're coming from and what. If your work is showing that much ability, right? If your work is showing, like if they're seeing that, hey, this guy really knows his stuff, right? They do not care. They need to make business. If you're providing them with the values that are helping them make the business, they do not care. Okay. As of now, I'm eligible to apply in any software companies in the world. Why? Because I have like after my transition phase, now I am like neck deep into this stuff. Right now, I do not have
Yeah.
to worry. Like people do not even look at my like what CGPA I had, what stream I have come from. They do not even look. When I talk with the startup founders, they just look at my things that I've done, and once they talk to you, they'll understand that this guy is really good. Okay, he knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. He has worked on all these things, right? And bingo, that will sort your problem. But the transition period is the main thing that I'll agree with you. The transition period
Yeah.
where you actually want to make the switch, you really need to work on some projects. You need to work on these things. But as you mentioned earlier in a question that if you're coming from IIT or some normal background, will it be making so much difference? No, no.
Sure.
Initially,
Oh,
during the placement and the money that you get, that might be a little bit different. But after some time, it doesn't make any sense.
so is there any possibilities that suppose that a person or a student is working in his core field, maybe a civil engineer, uh,
Right.
working in his core field for 5 to 6 years, then he thinks that no, it's getting boring. I'm not liking this job, or this kind of things are not for me. So at that point, he has reached a age of around 30, maybe.
Mm.
So is there any possibilities that he can transit to a IT field that point, or
I know two people who have done that. This is a very difficult thing. It's a difficult thing because it's almost late in your career, right?
yeah.
It's almost late in your career. Uh, what happens is that I'm giving you an example of two people I know. They moved after a long time. People like many people experiment with different organization. They can take the risk. Okay, different streams and paths. They can take the risk. So people who were working in non-IT field after working 10 or 15 years there, not even at the age of 30, 10 or after working 10 or 15 years, so maybe let's say 35 or 40, they want to switch or transition their field. They wanted to switch, right? And they did not know. No one was picking them up because the entire journey was built on their earlier careers. So who will like no one will take them seriously, right? In the industry,
Yeah.
the easiest way is if you're working in a non-IT field and you are already, I am hoping that you are already senior in that field, right?
Yeah.
You gather some idea about the tech field that you're having, okay, that you want to get into, and get some good idea. Say you're a manager, you have already been promoted as a manager there in the company. You do not have any tech or IT background. Now you're having some tech and IT knowledge as well, right?
Yeah.
So what you do, you ask the company, or when you apply for roles in other companies, you tell them that, hey, this is I am capable of leading your team entirely. Okay, I'm aware of about this stuff. Okay, because like you can ask me whatever you want. Okay, and then you migrate at the same position. Okay, in leading a tech team. It doesn't mean that if you're leading a tech team, you have to be from the tech background only, right? You
Okay.
need to have, yeah, because you need to have the business idea, and
Mhm.
you need to have the concrete vision that this is how I want the product to go ahead. This is and if you have the knowledge of the product, that what you actually want, you can guide the team to build the thing, right? So that is a, you need to migrate at the same position. Okay, definitely you have to have some knowledge of the IT so that you understand what your team is working on. Okay, and you can guide them on the basis of that. But yeah, I think, and then when you working there, you already having a, you deliver the product fully properly. You are already having this background. Okay, you are now, in a resume or CV, you can write in your profile portfolio, you can write that, hey, yes, I have, laid a team of all these things, all these people. Okay, and so then when you move on to the next job, you already have an like an IT background, a leader in IT background. I think that will
Sure.
be the most, yeah, easiest way to go about
Mm-hmm.
this journey.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's already 11:50 right now. If some
Right.
of the participants want to ask any questions about
Absolutely.
this session, I would
Absolutely.
request if someone is willing to ask any question, if they have any question
Yeah. Any question?
regarding this session, and by that time they get through the questions. So one thing I want to ask you from your personal
Right.
experience, that uh, what was the toughest project or maybe a bit challenging one you have worked till now? So if you can give 1 or 2 minutes insights on that.
Toughest, I'll say that, I was talking about the health tech thing, right?
Yeah.
Or the health tech data. Organizing those health, the patient records or whatever is the thing, because we do multiple modeling from the basis of that. We extract multiple insights, right, from the patient data, whether, it's in in a cardiology field, whether it's in radiology field, right? Radiology is still okay. I'll say it's still decent because it's all images and all. Like you get a, like a full data set of images. You pick them up and train on them. You identify the positions and everything. That's fine. When you're working with the patient data, okay, structuring them, when, because what happens is that we are not building like a soul system, right? We are building, if we are building something, we are building a pipeline. Okay,
Yeah.
and if we are building a pipeline, we may have to make sure that everything stays structured. If something fails, the entire pipeline crashes because we cannot afford that. Okay, the next
Yeah.
day I'll be out on the street. I'll be kicked out from the company that, hey, you crash the production and bye bye. So there's no opportunity there. So so these things, right? Because one of the very challenges that I face is that when you're doing a pipeline or this kind of automation, and especially working on ML models, data drift is a big thing, right? Data drift in the sense that, the data is ever changing, especially say in when you're working in finance, right? A spending pattern is, observed at this time, right? Suppose at a peak, say, uh, festival time, you're getting some, spending pattern. Okay, you're picking up the data from there. There is definitely a biasness. People are, spending more and more, but that is not the trend throughout the year, right? Maybe just after holiday season, that trend absolutely drops down. But the data we have trained on is like, people can spend lakhs and crores of money, okay, on during the festival time. But after the festival time, no one has got any money, and we are basing our, ML models that, hey, they can, this person can spend more, this person can spend more, and target this person, right? That doesn't happen. That fails. That model absolutely fails. It brings no business to the company, right? So this kind of data drift in health tech also was a very big challenge that we need to face. Same thing when we were working on some medical insurances, right? When the system gets so flawed, because you do not tap into all the nuances and the anomalies that happen at a, you know, uh, at a physical level, right? It becomes very
Mhm.
difficult. So we had to, conjure some methods, to be honest, to understand, like what are the points that we should take, how we should address this, so that it's actually accurate. It's actually, the end user can actually benefit from that. So it was like a really difficult data cleaning, data processing, understanding, picking up the insights, what actually works, what actually doesn't work. That was like a very huge and a very difficult task that I think anyone can ever face.
Okay. So
Right.
one of our participants has
Yes,
raised an
absolutely.
hand. Anyone?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Muthalakshmi.
Uh,
So
yeah.
when you speak about like learning a language, uh, you're asking about programming language only, right? I'll consider that you're talking about programming language only. Yeah, since we are on this topic. So yeah, Code with Harry is there. I'll also write down the names here. Okay. Um, Code with Harry is there. Uh, if you want to learn about AIML, I can give you Krishnaik, who the he's the best guy. Okay. So and there is another Andrew NG, right? And it'll and you know, Muthalakshmi, I think you'll find multiple, like once a student get into this now, they are full-time YouTubers, okay, who have dedicated their like YouTube life into building this kind of free open source, you know, videos, lectures on this. It's not like a real-time lecture. You know what happens in a university? It's a very interactive, like coding-based lectures and thing. So anyone who is getting into like who wants to understand and you know start from scratch can just get into YouTube, learn from there. Okay, you do not have to pay for any courses. You don't have to go to Coursera, Udemy for getting the basic. No, YouTube gives you more control of anything that you can, no more understanding of anything that you can ever have. So I think you know the students can highly benefit from you know channels like this because it's all open out there, right?
Mm.
So I think
So, so one thing I want to add over here for the question that
that's yeah.
there there is a SWAM platform. I think that would
Yes,
give a yeah, SWAM
for the
platform
MOOC.
for the NPTEL for the MOOCs
Right.
courses.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, the IITs are providing certifications for those courses over there. So
Hmm.
that will be helpful for any of the background students. Yeah. Any
Okay.
other questions from the participants end?
Since
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
I'll
Shreyan.
just add one more thing. I'll just add one more thing here.
Yes, yes,
And
please.
I'll be honest. Please, everyone, the researchers and professors who are there, please do not judge me. But but I'll say one thing. Uh, and we all did NPTEL as students, okay? But every time we fail as every time. So
I know the thing you're saying.
right, every time we fail as you know, and we always wanted to complete the NPTEL course, but you know, looking at the lectures and how the you know the lectures do, like we just fell asleep there, right? So that's why I focus and tell that if you need a certification, that's fine. You are going for NPTEL certificate, you have to go through all those things. But if you want to really learn the things, go into YouTube because that's much more a interactive format because they have to make it interactive and exciting.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they'll not get any views or something, right? They have to make it good, right? So I'll suggest that.
yeah,
No
sure.
offense,
No,
no offense to the
I
ethical faculty. Like they are
I was just
very
saying
highly
about,
qualified. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they are qualified. Yes, they
Yes.
are the masters of that
Yes.
field.
Masters of the
No,
master. Yes.
yeah, I was just saying about the certifications if they need that they should get
Absolutely.
from the better place.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
NPTEL.
knowledge
NPTEL.
yeah,
Knowledge. Yes.
knowledge can be gathered from YouTube or
Absolutely.
any of the
Absolutely.
channels or any of the
Absolutely.
edtech platforms. But
Absolutely.
in my opinion, that certification should be from a better point
Yes,
of
yes.
view.
And NPTEL is a very good certification for
Yeah,
like academic industry.
yeah, yeah. Shreyan, we have two more questions from the
Yes.
participants. And is there
Yes.
any suggestions for petroleum engineering students?
Okay. I'll say like regarding suggestions regarding what I'll ask that
Uh,
Venkatesh.
okay.
Venkatesh,
And
you
the
can also
next
speak.
question is,
You can also speak. It's not an issue. You can also open your mic and ask.
yeah, please. And next is that for the remotely placed institute, how they can improve the industry connections,
Remotely placed in the sense that
maybe in a
just
rural area
I think
or
I think I
hilly.
think yeah,
Mm.
I think the if you're having a placement
Yeah,
and
yeah,
training cell. Hi,
I
hi.
have
Yeah,
put
sure.
my mic on.
Yes,
Hello,
sure, sure. Hi, hi, Dr.
Shreyan.
Sanas. Yes, yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah, hi. Yeah, I have put my mic on. Yeah, just yeah, I
Yes.
wanted to know that the places where airports are not there. So
Okay.
at such institutes, the industry people, they little hesitate because of traveling time
Okay. Yes.
to come physically to the institutes. So
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
the covid era has gone. Like that time there was a, there was emergency that we had to go online, but now we are all completely physical, and we want that
Hmm.
such connect should be there. So for training placements etc, to
Right.
invite better industry people, uh, it becomes little difficult. So do you have any suggestion? What is your recommendation on this aspect?
Right. Uh, See, I studied in VIT, right? It's
Yeah.
the closest airport there was Chennai or Bangalore. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, but that was a big university. If I come
Yeah.
down to smaller universities, okay,
Hmm.
that might be where the issue might rise.
Hmm.
It's I'll say that the training and the placement cell really needs to work on the connects. Okay, they need to do
Hmm.
the work there, right?
Hmm.
The students can go. So as I mentioned right early in my conversation, the students have to have some real time, relatability so that they can go into hackathons and perform there,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when the training and placement cell are bringing, okay, this is not a instant. This cannot happen in an instant or maybe 1 or 2 years. This has to grow, right? This
Yeah.
has to grow from one time to it's a long process, maybe 5 or 6
Hmm.
years. But if
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
if the students are going to hackathons, they're winning stuff. They're able to get some good concrete uh, wins from there. Okay,
Yeah.
then they can apply it to these universities. The universe, I mean, to this uh,
Industries. Yeah.
industry, yeah, to this industries. Industries will be finding that hey, this group of students, because the HR is always very active there, right? This group of students who are coming from this industry, okay, or from this, this academy or this institution, okay, they're having very good background. Okay, although
Yeah.
it's a very small university, but the students are really good there. Okay,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know what they're working on. They know, like when they're taking the interviews, they know that like the students know their stuff, right?
Yes.
So they will be more interested in the university then.
Yes. Yes.
So after that time, what will actually happen is that the industry people will slowly come into the university. They're hoping that they might be getting more of the people, and
Yes.
what happens is that for the same role, suppose they're paying an IIT or maybe a top tier university student, say 7 lakhs. Okay, for
Yeah.
example, maybe for the same role, they'll be providing the same from a lower, maybe a tier 2 or tier 3 college student, maybe three and a
Huh.
half lakh, but for the same role, same thing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, that happens. That happens. Um, so, what will you like when the industry people will be very much interested that hey, if I go there with this
Hmm.
university, I may able to like I might be giving them the same package, lower package, but I'll be
Hmm.
getting some very good minds, right?
Yes.
Let them first
Yes.
work on that. Let them first work on
Yeah.
that. They do not need to pay you more because
Yes.
your main purpose is to get more people from the industry first, right? And
Yes.
getting a student placed.
Hmm.
That's the whole criteria. Once I get into this thing, after a few years, when you're giving them consistently good students, okay, then
Hmm.
you can bargain that, hey, if you're coming for this role, you cannot
Huh.
give our students this much little. You have to improve on that.
Yeah.
Maybe if the average is
Right.
3.5, you have to give them
Hmm.
5.5 on an average, right?
Yes.
Then you can bargain on that. So it's a very gradual step-by-step process that need to do. And it has to start from, you know, helping the students think feel,
Huh.
right? And like what they can do in the industry, like providing them with the opportunities. Because see, training and placement cell if I want to define the roles, they are acting as a salesman role for your
Hmm.
institution,
Yes.
right? Because they are bringing the companies, and what is the product for the institution? The students. If you're
Yes.
thinking about it in a business skill, okay.
Yes.
So if the products are not good, what products will the salesman sell,
Yes.
right? So it
Yes.
has to come from nurturing the students, enabling them for providing them with multiple opportunities. If the
Hmm.
university is not able to provide, they do not have the infrastructure or something, push
Hmm.
them as the students, like give them the allowance. I'll say do not, like if they're able to perform good, if you're able to identify that the students are good, do not cut them on attendance. I think many students have this, many students have this fear that the university might be cutting them off on 75% attendance criteria. But if the students are good, I'll ask, like rather request you to give them some allowance on your attendance, right?
Hmm.
And say, okay, fine, I am willing to give you 65%. I'll bring it, bring your attendance criteria down to 65% for you only. But
Hmm.
you have to go there. You have to give me something. If not a first position, at least maybe in the top five or top four,
Fine.
right?
Yes.
Come, trying to come with that. I say because uh, if you're a professor there, you can guide the students the best, like how to write code, how to think in the, because you already know like what are the aspects are there in all these domains, right? I suggest that
Yes.
the professor should be mentoring the students for that. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's a very long process, but it's very step by step gradual process, but this process works.
Yes, yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And one
Thanks.
more
Sure.
question, Shreyan. Yeah,
Yes.
like
Yes.
what we have observed currently, like since few years, that though we
Mhm.
are having other core branches like electronics, we
Mhm.
have chemical engineering, we
Right.
have mechanical, we have, but mostly for training placement, the industries which are approaching, they are from the software or CSIT domain companies, like TCS, etc.
Yes.
These
Yes.
companies are
Yes.
visiting. So
Yes.
is it that the era of the core companies is now now going down, or we are lacking in the
No.
process?
No.
Yeah.
It's an industry problem. It's an industry
Yeah.
problem. Okay. Um, how many companies in private sector have openings for petroleum, right?
Yes.
Only
Yeah.
only some big companies like Reliance, maybe Adani, and some other.
Yeah.
The rest of this petroleum's industry maybe or is under the government, and the government doesn't come to you
Yes.
for placement. You have to
Yes.
apply there. You have to go and apply
Yes.
for
Yes.
there.
Yes.
But on the other hand, this kind of tech openings, the tech positions, they have got multiple openings. Like every person in maybe if you go to Bangalore HSL layout, every person and if you go into a cafe, every person is thinking about building a startup, right? So
Yes.
the
Yes.
entire stuff is privatized. So for every company, they need recruitment, they need people, right? So
Yes.
that so for larger scale of industry like chemical, petroleum, and everything, it's a uh, it's a very pinpointed right now, and
Hmm.
it's quite difficult. And why will the higher and then the best of the private sector companies who are working in this petroleum or industry
Hmm.
will come to the tier 2 or tier 3? If you think about that,
Yes.
right? Because if
Yeah.
because anyway they have little bit of positions open, right? And if they want to
Yes.
fill up the
Yes.
positions, they have working on petrol, they have got huge amount of money, right? They will
Yes.
definitely go to the IITs or the NITs or like maybe SRM VITs,
Hmm.
colleges like that,
Yes.
and they will be hiding from there, right? So
Yes.
it's really quite difficult. It's really quite difficult, Dr. Shanal, that
Yes. Yes.
for this kind of fields.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shreyan. Yeah.
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It was a wonderful session. Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.
Okay, Shreyan, we have another question from
Yeah.
Varun that he
Yes.
is a MCA student and he need to focus on the DSA part. So what are the main problems can you suggest he should be working on?
I'll I'll suggest you one thing. Let me uh, give you a link. Okay. I think I'll paste it in the chat itself. And that's the best thing that you can ever do. It's called, this is a platform called Striver. Okay. So instead of going on yeah, DB connection, but they do not say where we use and how and when. I'm not talking about the other colleges. Okay, fine. You go here, okay, and you'll be having the list of all the problems that you need to address for a industry. Okay, you do not have to go into lead code, you do not have to go to hacker rank or something. And here you can actually learn from the industry experts how, how they're used, how they're being used, okay, and how to solve this kind of DS questions. Okay. So this is the best platform that you can go to understand like that the query that you mentioned, Varun. So I think this will be the best way.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. Thank you very much. And any other questions from the participants? And
Any other, any kind of question. I'm open to all.
any questions? Yeah. One note I want to add to the participants that
Yes.
these sessions were mainly for the students because to bringing up their mindset as
Right.
ma'am has already said that for the remotely placed institutes or the colleges, they are having a networking issue. So our main
Right.
motto is to do this kind of things only for the institute, because I am also from a working at a rural area college that is located. So I am facing the same issues over here, that networking with the industries and getting touch with them or bringing up them for the trainings and everything has become a bit difficult, though there
True.
were questions that from the registration part that NEP has already implemented these things and UGC have granted for the online programs, but still too there is a gap. There is a gap, and we as the professors or the like-minded peoples, not only professors can do anything. Okay, so we from the like-minded people should come forward, because what we had a discussion over telephonic discussion with Shreyan also, that what I have in my mind, that being a teacher is not a 10 to 5 job. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we are dealing with the society, we are dealing to bring up the these gaps, point out these gaps and bring up some solutions, so that maybe the next generation gets a better place to live or better place to work and better opportunities. And
Hmm.
Shreyan is a very enthusiastic, I must say, he is very enthusiastic over this things, and he has done maximum he's doing from his end. He's already doing personally, he's doing many things on this type of things. So so it was great to be in contact with
Thank you. Thank
getting
you.
in
Sure.
contact with Shreyan. And I will be sharing this video. If still I'm asking that if any of the participants have any questions, we will be discussing it. Another, we will be online for another 2 3 minutes maybe. uh,
Yeah. I have also shared
uh,
my uh thank you. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
yeah.
I think this is my LinkedIn. If you want to add, you can add me. You can connect with me. And also, Abhinandan sir, uh,
Hmm.
building on what you said, while the other people come up with other questions or queries if they have,
Yeah.
uh, is that as you were mentioning, right? So there are guidelines and there are grants and everything and positions, but it's all theoretical. It's not written, right? It's
Though,
no,
though
no.
it's written, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's applied. That is why when we come from the industry, we are seeing that okay, these are there, but why? When we conduct these sessions, that's what the people come up looking for. Like when we because we do multiple GitHub events or things like that, so they want to have find some relatability, and that is exactly where professors like you are helping them from the academic part. Because so like with this kind of initiatives, right, they do
Yeah.
not have to understand or like have this kind of revelation in the mind after they pass out of the college. They can have this revelation while they're still inside their college. So it will be like really really great. you know, to uh, like what you are doing for the students,
Mm. Yeah, we'll be trying our best to give the students so
right?
that
Yes, absolutely.
actually mindsets, I what I think that actually there was also a gap during my studies time also, that I
Everyone
didn't
has.
knew about
Everyone
yeah.
has.
I didn't knew about the industry. So after my BTech also, I have faced this kind of problems, that how I'm going to reach out to the people, how I'm going to face the interviews, what are the
Right.
basic knowledges do I need to have. But this remained as a gap only. Uh,
Yes,
yeah. So
that is true.
these things, I must say that this should be cultured in every college from at least for the last 2 years of their graduation, or whether they are doing any master degree also, they will be at least a
Same.
year before. The mindset needs
Absolutely.
to change. It cannot be changed in a day. It cannot
Right.
be changed. If I think that I am going to be a excellent professional tomorrow, it's not going to happen. It takes around 6 to 7 months for me to polish myself and get my knowledges, get myself to at least to speak with someone. That
Right.
also needs some guts to do that. That going
Right.
out and facing 4 or 5 people sitting in a AC room and asking me, throwing some random questions, and myself getting to that streamlined answers. That's a very difficult task.
Mm.
I think as in a student life of around, the student is having is around 20 to 21 years.
Mm.
So that needs to be cultured from at least 2 years before their graduation, so that
Right. Absolutely.
that mindset can be developed. Also, you have already said that about the hackathons. That's a great platform that AICT is also doing, MIC is doing, MOE is doing, that Smart India hackathons is there, national innovation contest are there, and many more universities are also uh, doing this kind of hackathons to bring up the new ideas for
Mm.
there are industry collaborations also. I'm not talking about the prize money what they are offering, but still to
That's fine.
the the connections. Main thing what I have understood for my last 11 years, or maybe after the COVID period, that network is very important.
It's very, very important.
Very important. Not only for the academicians or for the industrialist or for anyone, but for the students also.
Right.
What I think that network is going to help them. So our mission is to just build the network. I've received a message. Let me.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, sure. Yeah, yes,
Good.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. So with the finishing note, it has already been over time. No,
Yes.
with the
No
finishing
worries.
note, I hope every of participants have gained some insight and meaningful
Yes.
knowledge from this session. So thank you, Shreyan. Thank you for your
Okay.
time from your busy
Thank you so
schedule. You
much,
have
Abhinandan sir.
taken
No
out
worries. Absolutely.
for our initiative. Thank you very much, and thank you all the participants. And we will be getting connected over WhatsApp. I will be making a
Yes.
group with
All right.
due permission from all the participants. I would like to make a WhatsApp group where Shreyan will also be. I would like Shreyan also to join that WhatsApp group, so that he can give some support or some mentorship, so that
Yeah, yeah, please.
we
Anyway,
can.
anytime. I have my
Yeah,
LinkedIn
when
also.
he's
Please
free.
feel free to ping me anytime. I'm quite active
Yeah.
on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, though.
Hey,
Yes,
LinkedIn,
sure.
WhatsApp, anywhere, anywhere.
Yeah. So I will try to make a WhatsApp group with all the registered participants. There, that was around 70 registrations were there, and I hope no participants have any problem with that, because see, these sessions are not for marketing, as I have already mentioned in the form that this is not a marketing thing or any product sales is there. This is a pure initiative for the education and for the students. So thank you again, Shreyan, for your time
Sure.
and your sharing
Absolutely.
your
It was a
experience,
pleasure.
knowledge. Thank you very much, and thank you all the
Fine.
participants for joining. And we hope to see you in the next session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.